Hello, everybody. I'm Mark,
And I'm Sharon.
and we are Freedom on the Run.
Woohoo!
And we have been full time RVing for the last 18 months and 4 days. We went out on December 31st, 2021, and we have been all over the West, every state except Montana in the West. And here we are in northern Kentucky. This is as far east as we have been when it comes to RVing. I was born and raised here, so I'm very familiar with all this area around here, and we're having a good time.
Yes, we are. And looking forward to going somewhere where it's not as humid, for sure.
Well, not for a while. We're going up to, after we leave here, we're going up to Indiana, where it's still humid, and then up to Michigan, where it's still humid, along with mosquitoes, I've heard. So, but then after we are through in Michigan, we're heading back to the west and back to Colorado. So we're a little more, even though I've lived a lot of years here, I'm a little more used to the west now than I am the east.
Yeah, I'm from Alaska and have lived most of my life, except for with him anyway, on the west, California mainly, Nevada and Alaska, and a little bit of Washington sprinkled in there. So I'm used to dry climate and not this moisture. So this is kind of tough on me, but we're making do and we're enjoying our time here, having a good time. But anyway, we wanted to talk to you a little bit about us. And if you don't know us, many of you don't. We just wanted to share a little bit about who we are and how we got started with Freedom on the Run and what to expect.
Well, I was born and raised here, like I said, in northern Kentucky. Lived here for the first 25 years of my life until I went in the Air Force and went out to Utah for 4 or 5 years. Then came back here for another 25. But then met Sharon in 2005, and we moved to Colorado. This is a nutshell, but we'll fill in details. In 2017, and then in 2021, we went full time with the RV.
Yep. So what we wanted to do here is, well, let's talk a little bit about the channel itself and what you can expect. We are not planning on being one of those great YouTube channels. We just don't have the time to do that. I personally don't think that we have the dynamics for it, but I don't have the time. I work full time. I work as an architectural 3D modeler here from our rig, and I don't. It's a huge learning curve for me to figure out how to make these videos and editing them. It's a work in progress, and there's no way that I can put in the time to create one of those awesome videos like some of our friends put together. Just no way. But anyway, so bear with us. This is going to be pretty rough. It's going to be pretty not unscheduled. Whenever we can do a video, we will. And we'll put it out when we can, and we'll just share a little bit about where we're going and what we're doing. But it's going to be sporadic. So if you want to subscribe, we'd love to have you do that. We don't ever plan on being monetized. Like I said, it's just very informal. At this point in time, that's how it's going to be for us. So.
And I'm a professional musician, so I'm used to being in front of people and talking to them off the cuff on stages and things like that. But this format is a little out of my comfort zone, so we're just trying to muddle through here and give you some idea who we are and what to expect from Freedom on the Run. The phrase "Freedom on the Run" is from a song that I wrote a couple of years ago called Alaska, and we have it put on the side of our railings on our truck, and it just feels like that's what we're doing. We don't live in a house anymore. I don't miss that at all. And we don't have yard work anymore. I don't miss that at all. And we're moving from one place to another at least every couple of weeks, with a couple of exceptions. But we feel free out here. We're not tied to any area. We're not tied to any climate. We can pretty much come and go as we please, as long as we have internet for her to do her work, and we always do with Starlink. It hasn't failed us yet.
It's been a game changer for me.
Yeah.
Totally.
Right.
So I was going to say something I forgot.
Well, just a little bit of background on myself. Like I said, I'm from here, Northern Kentucky, but I have two kids. One who's 27, his name's Tucker, and one who's 29, her name is Hannah, and they live in Coos Bay, Oregon, which is a beautiful, beautiful place. We like to go there at least a couple times a year, maybe 3, to see them, but also to see a little boy named Emmett, who is our first grandchild, and he was born on Christmas Day of 2021, about 6 days before we took off full time. He's my daughter's son, and so we love going up there to see all of them, and we FaceTime pretty regularly too. So
Yeah.
he knows who Grampy and Grammy are,
Right?
even though he's not been around us since Christmas so far right now.
He gives us kisses on the phone when he
Yeah,
talks to us.
he's a sweetie.
So, and basically, I'm from Alaska. Have lived in the lower 48 since about 94, I guess it is now. I have 2 kids from a previous marriage. My son is 35, lives in Oregon, and my daughter is 32 and lives in Florida, and they're both engaged to be married right now. So that's them. And then between the 2 of us, we have two little ones.
We have a little cat. Well, not a little cat. He's a big cat. He's a Maine Coon named Boomer, and he is 14 years old.
Yeah.
And a little lab beagle mix named Annabelle, and she's 4 years old. I should have mentioned that my kids are from a previous marriage also, because we've only been together for 18 years, and my daughter's 29
Has
years
it
old.
been
So
18 years?
it will be. Let's see. Yeah, this is 2023. We met in 2005, so
Okay.
18 years.
Yeah.
Been married for 16 almost.
Yeah. So, which brings us to what we want to share with you. We want to give you a little bit of our story, how we met. Like we both said, we've had what we call a previous life, and this is our chapter basically. So we wanted to share how we met. We think it's pretty cool. It started for us back in 2005. I grew up as a John Denver fan, basically. Ever since I was 11 years old, I've loved John Denver's music. So I followed him very closely as best I could from that time forward. And when he died in 97, fans and family of his around the globe would get together and ask him for a celebration of life and do all kinds of activities, social things, concerts and fundraiser things, things that would promote the environment and just things that John Denver believed in. So I would go out to that event every October in celebration of his life. And over the years, it became more of a family reunion of friends from everywhere, instead of a memorial or
A sad time.
it wasn't.
It started out as a sad
It
time.
was very sad at
But
first.
then, like she said, it evolved into a reunion of all of us, people from far away as Japan, Australia, Germany, just all over the world.
We have wonderful friends from all over the world that we have met through this group, these John Denver fans. Which, when I was young, you didn't want anybody to know you were a John Denver fan. It was, you stayed in the closet with that one.
And I've been a fan of his since I was in high school, and being a musician, guitar player, singer, songwriter, his music kind of fell into the genre that I like, along with Lightfoot and Croce and Fogelberg and all those. But John Denver's always been probably my favorite, and when he died and they started having these celebrations out in Aspen, concerts were the main thing they wanted to have. And so I was invited to come out in 1998 to do one, and I did. And I did one in 99 and 2000 and on and on and on. So I was out there almost every single year to do shows out there, and that's how we met at one of my concerts in 2005.
Yeah. John Denver had purchased property out in Snowmass that he named Windstar, and it was basically a place where he could do symposiums to help people, to teach people about sustainability, and and that was when, or 70s, 80s?
Yeah, they're way ahead of his time.
Yeah. So anyway, he always had things going on out there teaching people how to be earth friendly and that kind of thing. So we would go out there for these this John Denver celebration of life, and every year they would have an event, an open house type thing where there would be food and music and
At Snowmass.
at Snowmass, yeah, at Windstar.
Yeah.
And I always liked going out there, not so much for the music, it was nice, but I always went out because I loved the property, and I liked hiking around the property, and it's just, you know, the view of Mount Sopris was gorgeous, and just being in the country and being in the mountains, it was just beautiful and quiet, and just gave you time to think about things, and it was just a beautiful time. So, and that's where I met Mark, basically, was there at Windstar and Snowmass in 2005. So, you were playing.
I was playing in
part
a
of an
concert, and well, I was the one on stage when she came in and sat down in first row or front row, which means about 5 feet away at that point. That was a very crowded venue.
Yeah.
And so after the concert was over, we hugged like everybody does out there, and I asked her to go to dinner that night after having only known her for 5 minutes. And so she said yes, and then I had to ask her what her name was because I didn't know that. So we went out to dinner that night and had a wonderful time, laughed and talked all evening, and it was like we'd known each other forever.
Yeah. So before that evening happened, before that day happened, 3 days prior, in fact, when I was coming out to Aspen, I had a bad day, like the night before I left California, and just basically said, I'm done. I'm not dating anymore. I'm not going to be, you know, because it was a Match.com thing. It's like, okay, forget this. I'm going to concentrate on work and my kids. And if something happens in the future, you know, where I meet somebody, then I'm open to that, but I'm not looking for it. So that was my plan. I was quite content with that. My sister came out to California, and we drove to Aspen together, and we had a great time. We were there several days before I met Mark, and for the first time I felt relaxed and at peace because I wasn't looking for anything. I was just really enjoying my time with my sister and being in the mountains. I love being in the mountains, so it just, you know, hey, that's where the Rocky Mountain High came in, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So anyway, I had sworn off men basically for the time being, and then I go to this event, and it's not that I was looking for Mark at all, but I knew that something was happening during that concert. So much so, I mean, it was thick in the air. I could feel that there was a connection, even though I was trying not to look at him. I was fidgeting and looking at my hands and looking around the room, and just, I mean, he was literally 4 feet in front of me. And if I look straight ahead, it's like I'm looking at just below his belt.
Because I was up on a stage, you see.
Yeah. And if I looked up, it was like I'm gawking, you know, just kind of staring at him. You know, it's like just very, very, very uncomfortable for me. So I was avoiding him more than anything. But all the while, anyway, I could still feel this thing going on in the air, and I was actually embarrassed by it because
You felt like everybody could see it.
I felt like everybody could see what was going on, and I wasn't even sure what was going on, but it was thick. I mean, I couldn't relax and just enjoy the music because something was going on. And so when it was all said and done, and the concert, there was a lot of other musicians when it all ended, and I stood up to put my jacket on, and I looked across the room, and there was Mark, and our eyes met, right? And like locked in a gaze, you know. It was just, yeah. And I just totally lost control of myself. I mean, we both walked around the crowd, and we hugged, like. And it was weird. It was like a slow motion, like you'd see in a movie or something. It was weird. But anyway, we hugged. And everybody hugs out there, so it wasn't a big deal. But it was a little bit longer, a little bit more
Intense.
Yeah, a little more intense, a little more intimate that I felt like it should be with somebody I didn't know. And anyway, so I pushed back and, told him what a great job he did up there with the music and how it was a good concert. And then you said,
Will you go out to dinner with me tonight? And I've never been one to be brave around girls or women, so the courage for that came from somewhere else. And but it it happened, and she went, and it was wonderful. And we dated for 2 years long distance. I was still living here in Kentucky, and she was living in Southern California.
well, let me back up for a second, because one thing about going out that night is I hesitated in answering, giving him an answer, because my sister was with me. I didn't want to abandon her when we're on vacation together, and I just sworn off men basically. And then I didn't know if I really wanted to do that. If I didn't really want to go out with anybody. I wasn't there to go out with anybody. But I knew that something was going on. I could feel it in the air, and I felt like I had to investigate that. Otherwise, I'd always wonder. So I knew that my sister would understand, and so then I finally said yes, that I would go out. But
Longest 5 seconds of my life.
and then you had to ask me.
Then I had to ask her what her name
Yeah,
was,
'cause
because I hadn't known her name yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a unique experience, to say the least.
And then when we went on the date, I decided, okay, well, I mean, you get to a point in your life where you're done playing games. You just got to be real. And so I basically wanted to see if I could make him run, and I tried to give him all the dirt that I could think of to make him run.
But it was just funny. We laughed all night long at the restaurant, and came away knowing that there was something special going on.
Yep. So I'll try to add a couple pictures if I can figure out how to do it. Of the first date, and it was a fun night. So we had a good time.
So there was a band that I was in at the time, and we were traveling around the country quite a bit. We went to several different cities, and so since she was on the West Coast and I was in the Midwest, we had to see each other whenever we could. So she would come to one of those cities when she could get the time off, and for the weekend while we were playing our show there, and then I would get on a plane and go to California and visit her for say Thursday through Sunday, and then she'd come to Kentucky and visit me, and so we didn't see each other very often in those 2 years that we did that. But we did have cell phones, and we had mobile-to-mobile service, so minutes were free, which was a good thing because we did 10,000 minutes a month for 2 years, and just walked around the house, her house and my house, with headphones on, as though we were spending time together. And I guess we were in a way, but that was that was a unique experience too.
Yeah, that was. So we got engaged in 2006 out at Aspen when we went back, and then in 2007 in October we got married at the John Denver Sanctuary in Aspen. And everybody who would come from all over to the John Denver Celebration of Life was invited to the wedding. So it was a fun event. It was really a lot of fun.
Yeah, and then I moved her back here to northern Kentucky, the land of humidity and allergies. Being from here, I don't even notice the humidity, and I don't have any allergies, but it sure took a toll on her for 7 years.
Yeah.
Until she got a job in Denver. We've always wanted to move from here to Colorado, and she got a job in Denver and moved out there from here in 2014, in June of 2014. And so the plan was to sell the house real quick and for me to move out. Well, it took 2.5 years to sell our house here in northern Kentucky. And so being a musician, I can do music out there or here. So I would spend a month in Colorado playing shows, playing things, come back here and do the same thing. Plus I used to be a dog groomer. I had my own dog grooming business. So I'd come back here and do the grooming and the music, and then go back out there for a month. So I did that for 2.5 years, and it got old really quick, but it was worth it. I mean, it was I'm glad that we went through that in a way, because it brings you closer together, I think, when you are able to be together full time. And now we're really together full time in our fifth wheel every single day.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's our story.
Sticking to it.
Yeah, we're sticking to it. So what are our plans from here?
Well, even when we went out on New Year's Eve in 2021, we were kind of throwing around the term of 4 to 5 years of being on the road full time. And it just happened that this past spring, we were in Benson, Arizona, which is about an hour south of Tucson. And we were in an RV resort.
The SKP.
SKP RV resort. So Saguaro SKP resort. And we signed up to get a lot there where we would live there.
In the winter.
Right, in the winter. Spring, fall, and winter probably, not
Right.
summer. But we put the RV there. They have a lot of the lots have a casita on them for guests or storage or whatever you want to use them for. And anyway, it's going to be about 3.5 more years before we get a permanent place there, which ties right into our goal in the first place of 5 total years.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to that. We'll probably go down there in October, November every year and stay there until May, and then get out of there before it gets to be 100 degrees, and travel around up here and up in the mountains for the summer months.
We may need to get a smaller rig and just
We
do this.
might do that.
We're flexible. You know, the one thing about this life is you can change your mind. You can do whatever you want to do. So we're basically taking it a year at a time.
Yeah.
And just kind of evaluating. We always evaluate it at the year and say, well, what do you know? Are we good? Do we want to keep on? You know, what do we want our exit plan to be? So far, we have a very loose exit plan, but we have that flexibility, we feel.
But it works out well because we can see people that we haven't seen in a very long time.
Yeah.
Whereas if we were in a house in any state, we probably would never see them again.
Yeah.
And so we can, like when we came here to Northern Kentucky, I've seen people that I haven't seen in decades. And we get to go visit the kids and Emmett a couple times a year, like I said,
Yeah.
or 3 times. Because when you go to Coos Bay, it's not on the way to anything.
No, it's not.
It's on the very edge of the country. So you're going there or you're not going there.
Yeah.
You don't stop by.
Right.
So we get to go up there a lot. And that's a lot of fun too.
Yeah, this life has definitely given us the opportunity to visit with family and friends more than we would have otherwise. And in addition to that, I would say that we're more social in this lifestyle than we were when we had the house. We've met a lot more people that we stay connected with, and we'll probably bump into in the course of our years. We travel around. So, and of course, this channel and Facebook and so on helps keep us connected as well, so that we can do that. So it's been a lot of fun, and we hope to continue it.
And incidentally, there's another YouTube channel that we have. It's called Mark Cormick and Music. So if you want to go over there, you can see videos of me with my band, Stellar Band, or solo, or different other things, some still pictures and some videos of my music. If you do that, make sure you subscribe. But I think you'd enjoy that too.
Yeah. Also, if you know of a good venue in your area that would be a great place for us to come, so that Mark can perform. We'd like to have any ideas that you may have. That would be good.
Yeah, and I do. Sometimes I'll do John Denver tribute concerts, but if I'm doing like a restaurant or something like that, I do everything from the Beatles to the Eagles to Jimmy Buffett to you name it. So it's not just Denver stuff. So if you have any kind of venue ideas, or you're having a party, or you know somebody that's looking for music, just let us know.
Yeah, definitely.
And we hope you enjoy this channel and my music channel as well. Please stop by anytime you want to. Make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you down the road.
All right. See you around the campfire sometime.
That's right.